The massive alpha lunged for the terrified child, jaws wide enough to crush bone. Kiara moved before fear could stop her. "Stop!" Her voice struck the room with a force she had never possessed before, and the attacking wolf froze in midair. Far across the citadel, the high alpha felt the surge and started running. Something that had slept inside the wolfless girl for 18 years was finally waking, and before anyone could understand what it was, the wolves around her began to submit. Chapter 1. The Offering. We were taught that destiny favored the strong, that the moon goddess marked those she chose with strength, claws, and the gift of becoming something magnificent beneath the full moon. We were taught that if we were loyal enough, patient enough, worthy enough, our wolves would eventually answer, our mates would find us, our place in the world would become clear. But after standing beneath 13 full moons and feeling absolutely nothing, you stop believing those stories. No bones breaking, no ancient instinct surging through your veins, no wolf rising beneath your skin to greet the silver light, only silence. And once you understand what it means to be powerless in a world built entirely around dominance, you learn another truth very quickly. The weak do not simply disappear into the background. They become targets. Examples. Warnings of what happens when the goddess turns her face away. They called me broken. The girl whose wolf had never appeared. The flaw in an alpha bloodline that had produced nothing but strength for 7 generations. After my 18th birthday came and went without a transformation, my father could barely look at me. My mother stopped introducing me during pack gatherings. And my younger sister, Vera, beautiful, powerful, already displaying everything expected from the future heir of an alpha family, eventually stopped defending me too. But there was something no one understood about surviving without a wolf in a pack filled with predators. You learned things they never needed to learn. You learned to recognize the smallest shift in someone's face before cruelty appeared. You heard the change in a voice before someone struck. You entered every room already knowing where the exits were. You learned how to smile while calculating exactly how quickly you could escape. And because claws and dominance were never available to you, you learned to use something else. Words. The right sentence at the right moment could cut more deeply than teeth. And sometimes the most dangerous creature in a room wasn't the one with claws. Sometimes it was the one who had already lost everything. The morning my family decided to give me away, my mother cooked blueberry pancakes. That should have warned me immediately. We had not eaten blueberry pancakes since before my 18th birthday, before the night I failed to shift, before I became the shame hanging over the Ashwood pack. Yet there they were, stacked on my plate beneath maple syrup, fresh butter melting across the top. Vera sat opposite me. She wasn't eating. Her amber eyes followed every movement of my fork. Wolf eyes. The kind I would never have. She had experienced her first shift 3 months earlier at 17, unusually young even for an alpha's daughter. The pack celebrated for 3 days. I smiled through every hour of it, until my cheeks hurt while something inside me quietly collapsed. "Eat, Kiara," my mother said. She still refused to meet my eyes. She had been doing that for 6 months. I lifted my fork. The pancakes tasted like ash. My father entered while I was forcing myself through the last bite. Alpha Ronin Ashwood. 6'4", broad-shouldered, powerful enough that his presence alone changed the atmosphere of a room. For most of my life, I had watched him carry responsibility for 200 pack members with pride. Then I became one of those responsibilities. Kiara. His voice was gentle. That was my second warning. My father was almost never gentle with me anymore. Gentleness meant bad news. Gentleness meant he had already decided to hurt me and wanted to soften the blow. "We need to talk." I carefully lowered my fork into the center of my plate and folded my hands together. Tiny rituals of control had become important to me. There were so few things left that I could control. "There is a situation," my father continued. He glanced toward my mother. She became very interested in her coffee mug. The council has raised our tribute again. I knew what that meant. The Council of Five governed the territories through the strongest regional alphas. For years they had steadily increased what smaller packs owed them. Officially, the payments bought protection from rogue attacks. Everyone understood what they actually were. Extortion with paperwork. We can't afford the full payment this quarter, my father said. Winter was too severe. We lost livestock, resources, and… He stopped. I knew exactly what he had nearly added. Pack members. We had been losing them since word spread that Alpha Ashwood's eldest daughter had reached 18 without a wolf. Wolves respected strength. A pack led by an alpha whose firstborn appeared defective looked weak. And wolves treated weakness like a disease. What does any of this have to do with me? Even while asking, I already felt the answer closing around my throat. My father finally looked at me. I saw resignation. He wasn't considering a decision. He had already made it. This conversation existed only so I could hear it. The council offered another form of payment, he said carefully. They require workers in the northern territories. Humans. Wolfless people. Anyone unable to shift. They're willing to accept able-bodied servants instead of part of the tribute. Silence swallowed the room. You're giving me to the council. My voice sounded strangely calm. My mother finally looked at me. Kiara, it isn't like that. A sharp laugh escaped me. What exactly is it like? You're exchanging me for a reduction in your tax payment. Kiara, does the pack already know? Have you announced it? Maybe you can gather everyone and tell them the wonderful news. The Ashwood pack finally solved its financial problems by selling the defective daughter. Enough. My father's alpha command cracked through the room. Vera flinched. The command carried the kind of dominance that made other wolves lower themselves instinctively. It had never worked on me. One of the very few advantages of having no wolf. But I still felt everything behind it. His anger. His humiliation. His shame. Even while being traded away, I was embarrassing him. You're right, I said quietly. I stood. The legs of my chair scraped against the floor. I am enough. Enough to solve your problem. Enough to exchange. Just enough. I turned toward the doorway. There is something else, my father said. I stopped. His voice had changed. The representative coming today isn't an ordinary council collector. A chill moved through me. It's Beta Thornwood. I froze. Everyone knew the name. Beta Thornwood served as the council's enforcer. He appeared when packs refused payment, when negotiations failed, when examples needed to be made. Stories claimed he had burned 3 pack houses the previous year after their alphas resisted council orders. Wolves feared alphas. Alphas feared the council. And the council used Thornwood whenever fear wasn't enough. He requested you specifically, my father added. I slowly turned around. By name? My parents exchanged a look. I couldn't understand it. How does he even know I exist? Your condition has become known outside our territory, my mother said. The wolfless daughter of an alpha bloodline is unusual. Unusual enough for the council's enforcer to personally collect me? There are rumors, she continued cautiously, that the council is gathering unusual cases, possibly for research. Research. My stomach turned. What does that mean? Are they planning to cut me open to discover what's wrong? We don't know, my father admitted, but we cannot refuse. He arrives before noon. I looked at Vera. She had remained silent the entire time, hands clenched tightly enough that her knuckles had turned white. Nothing to say? Her mouth opened. Closed. Then she shook her head. Of course. Vera was strong. Vera had her wolf. Vera was the future alpha. Everything had always been waiting for her. Why would she suddenly risk herself for the sister who couldn't even shift? I need to pack. My mother rose. Kiara. She reached toward me. I stepped away. Don't. The word came out colder than I expected. You already made your choice. Let me make mine. Packing did not take long. Wolfless pack members weren't exactly surrounded by possessions. Most of my clothing had once belonged to Vera, altered and repaired until it fit me. I owned my books, old, damaged volumes from the pack library no one else wanted. I had my journal, filled with stories I wrote during nights when loneliness became too heavy. And I had the silver locket my grandmother gave me before she died. She had been the only person in the family who never looked disappointed when she saw me. On her deathbed, she pressed that locket into my palm. "You aren't broken," she whispered. "You're simply different, and being different isn't wrong. It's dangerous to them, Kiara, not to you. Remember that." I never understood what she meant. Different had always meant weak. Different had always meant wrong. Different was the reason I was now being handed over like livestock. I was pushing the last book into my canvas bag when Vera appeared in my doorway. She stood there for several seconds. "I'm sorry. I kept packing. Are you? I didn't know they were going to do this. I knew the pack was struggling, but I never thought..." "You never thought they'd choose you over me?" I turned. "Really, Vera, you didn't see this coming?" Shame crossed her face. "I could speak to Father. Maybe if you what? Volunteer to go instead?" A bitter laugh escaped me. "You're the heir, the future alpha, the perfect daughter with the perfect wolf and perfect future. They would cut off their own arms before giving you away. That isn't fair. None of this is fair." 6 months of swallowed rage finally broke loose. "It isn't fair that my wolf never came. It isn't fair that everyone in this pack looks at me like I'm infected. It isn't fair that my own parents can't stand looking at me." My voice shook. "And it isn't fair that you get to stand there saying you're sorry when both of us know you're relieved." "Relieved?" Gold flared behind Vera's eyes. Her wolf was close. "You think I'm relieved because the council is taking my sister away with the most dangerous beta in the territories. I think you're relieved because you won't need to explain me anymore." I closed my bag with trembling hands. No more whispers about the alpha bloodline being contaminated. No more apologizing for the broken older sister. The problem is finally removing itself. Vera stared at me. For a moment I saw genuine grief. Then her shoulders straightened, and that future alpha hardness appeared. "You're right. I hadn't expected that. I am relieved." Pain struck harder than anger ever could. "Not because I don't love you," she continued, "because watching this place destroy you has been destroying me too, and I can't fix any of it. I can't give you a wolf. I can't force the pack to accept you. I can't make Father look at you the way grandmother did." She moved closer. The forest scent carried by all shifters, pine, earth, something wild, followed her. "But I can tell you something." "What?" "Beta Thornwood didn't request you because you're useless." I frowned. "The council doesn't collect failures, Kiara. They collect assets." My breathing slowed. "Whatever they want from you, it's because you possess something they need. Something important enough that they sent their most dangerous enforcer to retrieve you personally. That's supposed to comfort me? No, it's supposed to make you careful." Vera pushed something into my palm. A small knife. Silver blade. A weapon capable of injuring wolves. Grandmother gave this to me before she died. She told me to give it to you when the time came. I stared at her. What did she know? I don't know. Vera lowered her voice. But she told me something else. She leaned closer. She said your wolf wasn't gone. It was sleeping. My heart stopped for a beat. "And when it wakes," Vera whispered, "the whole world is going to feel it." Before I could answer, a howl broke across the territory. The pack's warning call. Someone had crossed the border. Beta Thornwood had arrived. I imagined the council's enforcer would look like a monster. Scars. Massive shoulders. Cruelty carved across his face. The man who stepped from the black SUV in the central square was somehow more frightening because he looked ordinary. Perhaps 5'10", lean rather than muscular, dark hair touched with silver at the temples, pulled neatly behind his head. An angular, almost scholarly face, wire-rimmed glasses, a perfectly tailored three-piece suit. He looked as though he had arrived for a business meeting rather than to collect a person as payment. Only two things about him were remarkable: his pale gray eyes, and the reaction every wolf had when he entered the square. They moved away from him. Even my father stepped back. Power surrounded Thornwood without noise or display. It wasn't aggressive dominance. It was colder, absolute. The power of someone who never needed to demonstrate what he could do, because everyone already knew. Alpha Ashwood. Thornwood extended his hand pleasantly. Thank you for meeting me on short notice. My father accepted it, tension visible through his shoulders. Beta Thornwood. Everything is prepared. Excellent. His gaze swept across the pack members who had gathered to witness my humiliation. Then those pale eyes landed on me. And this must be the girl. I lifted my chin. Every instinct told me to look away. I refused. Something passed through his expression. Surprise. Then, perhaps approval. Gone almost immediately. Kiara Ashwood, my father said, gesturing me forward. As discussed, she's healthy. Strong for a human. She can read and write, which is rare. She'll be valuable. I'm sure she will. Thornwood cut him off without raising his voice. His attention never left me. Miss Ashwood, do you understand what is happening? You're taking me in exchange for my father's debt. I met his gaze. I belong to the council now. Not exactly. He studied me like an interesting puzzle. You are entering a 7-year council service contract. Your pack's outstanding obligations will be cleared in return. During those 7 years, you work where assigned. When the term ends, you may leave. 7 years. 7 years of my life. And if I refuse? My father made a strangled sound. No one refused the council. Certainly not Thornwood. But the beta simply smiled. It never reached his eyes. Then I return without you. The Ashwood pack is sanctioned for non-payment. Within approximately 6 months, its territory is absorbed into the northern holdings. Pack members are redistributed. Many lose rank, homes, and existing family arrangements. He spoke as though describing an accounting procedure. But you remain free. So I don't actually have a choice. We always have choices, Miss Ashwood. His pale gaze hardened. Sometimes every available choice is terrible. He gestured toward the vehicle. Shall we? I turned back once. My father couldn't look at me. My mother cried silently. Vera stood rigid. No one came forward. No one fought. No one was going to save me. I had always known it. Actually seeing them allow me to leave changed something inside me. Something became colder, harder. Goodbye. To them, to the pack, to the only home I'd ever known. Then I walked toward the SUV carrying one canvas bag, my grandmother's locket, a hidden silver knife, and almost nothing else. Thornwood sat beside me in the back seat. The driver was a wolf. I could smell it. The vehicle pulled away. No one waved. Thornwood passed me a bottle of water and a thick folder. Your contract. Read it carefully. I accepted it. You aren't going where you think. My hands trembled as I opened the folder. The first page contained ordinary service terms. Duration, housing, work obligations. Then I turned the page. My breathing stopped. Destination, Northern Citadel. Assignment, personal service. High Alpha Darius Blackthorn. Special notation. Subject exhibits unique characteristics. Standard protocol waived. Direct assignment approved by the High Alpha. I looked at Thornwood. The High Alpha? Correct. I'm being sent directly to him? Not merely sent. Thornwood adjusted his glasses. You were personally requested. My stomach tightened. Why would the High Alpha request someone like me? Someone like you? Wolfless. Broken. For the first time, I clearly recognized the expression in Thornwood's eyes. satisfaction, as though I had unknowingly passed a test. Someone, he said quietly, who has absolutely no idea what she truly is. The SUV turned north, toward the Citadel, toward High Alpha Darius Blackthorn, toward whatever purpose awaited the wolfless daughter who should not have existed. As the distance between me and my old life increased, something shifted deep inside my chest. Not a wolf. I had accepted long ago that no wolf would answer me. This was something different. Something coiled, patient, waiting for 18 years. And somewhere inside me came the faintest whisper. Finally. Chapter 2. The Citadel. The journey north lasted 6 hours, but it felt as if we crossed into another world. The soft hills and forests of Ashwood territory gave way to mountains. Oak and maple became enormous pines. Snow appeared beside the highway, then began covering it. The driver slowed as we climbed through switchbacks with sheer drops beside us. Thornwood spent most of the journey working. He removed his jacket and rolled his sleeves, revealing scars across his forearms. Claw marks, bite marks. Evidence that the quiet man beside me had survived things that would have killed others. I tried reading the contract. 7 years of service, food and housing included. No contact with former pack members without authorization. Termination permitted only for gross incompetence or deliberate harm to council interests. In simpler terms, I belonged to them until they decided otherwise. "You're unusually calm," Thornwood said without looking away from his laptop. "Most people cry." Would crying change anything? No. Then why waste the energy? That earned the faintest movement from his mouth. I closed the contract. "You said the High Alpha had been searching for someone like me." "I did. What does that mean?" "Not my story to tell. You're taking me to him. I think I deserve to know what I'm walking into." Thornwood finally looked up. "Rights are fascinating things, Miss Ashwood. They exist only while someone stronger agrees to respect them." His gaze sharpened. "In your present situation, worry less about rights. Concentrate on survival." My stomach twisted. Is he going to kill me? Thornwood actually smiled. It made him almost handsome. Almost. "No. How can you be sure? If High Alpha Blackthorn wanted you dead, he wouldn't have bothered sending me. He would have ordered your father to terminate you." The casualness of the sentence made me cold. Then what does he want? Thornwood shut the laptop. "Tell me what you know about the origin of shifters." The question caught me off guard. The same story everyone learns. The moon goddess created wolves to defend humanity against darkness. She gave certain human bloodlines the ability to move between human and wolf form so they could protect both worlds. And what was this darkness? I don't know. The stories never explain it. Just evil. Darkness. The usual thing old legends use when they don't want to be specific. Exactly. He leaned back. Oddly vague, isn't it? Almost as if details were deliberately removed over generations. What does that have to do with me? Everything. The word came quietly. Because your existence, Miss Ashwood, suggests that those stories are either lies or incomplete. Before I could demand an explanation, the SUV rounded another mountain bend, and the Citadel appeared. I had expected walls, guard towers, stone fortifications. Instead, the structure seemed to be part of the mountain. Black stone and glass rose directly from the rock. Immense windows reflected the dying light. Towers stretched upward and were connected by bridges so narrow they looked impossible. At the summit stood a palace of dark marble streaked with silver, its spires cutting into the clouds. It was beautiful, terrifying, and something about it made my skin tighten with instinctive warning. "Welcome to the seat of the High Alpha's power," Thornwood said, "home of the Council of Five and center of shifter civilization." "How many people live here?" "Approximately 3,000 permanently. Another 1,000 rotate through as guards, diplomats, servants, merchants, and visiting pack representatives." He indicated the enormous complex. Administrative offices, barracks, servant quarters, and training grounds occupy the lower levels. Ranked pack members and visiting dignitaries use the middle levels. And the palace? Thornwood paused. The upper palace belongs to High Alpha Blackthorn. Is that where you're taking me? Eventually. The SUV entered an underground garage buried inside the mountain. Security checkpoints appeared one after another. Armed guards scanned the vehicle. No one stopped Thornwood, but every pair of golden wolf eyes followed me. I recognized their expressions. Wolfless. Weak. Wrong. We parked in a private section. Thornwood led me through concrete corridors under buzzing fluorescent lights. The air smelled of stone, disinfectant, and something musky enough to quicken my pulse. Fear, I told myself. My own fear. We stopped at a steel door labeled 247. Thornwood placed his palm against a scanner. The door opened. Inside was a white medical room filled with equipment. Scanners, needles, machines I couldn't identify. At the center stood a chair. Restraints hung from both arms and legs. A tall woman in a white coat waited beside it. Her dark eyes were flat and unreadable. Dr. Reeves, Thornwood greeted. Kiara Ashwood. The High Alpha's special assignment. The doctor circled me slowly. Wolfless confirmed. 18 years old. Age of first heat? Heat rose into my face. I haven't. Infertile, Thornwood said clinically. Medical records show no heat cycles, no pheromone production, no mate bond response. Dr. Reeves entered something on her tablet. And bloodline? Pure alpha heritage. 7 generations through her father, 6 through her mother. Dr. Reeves grabbed my chin and tilted my face toward the light. No visible abnormalities, healthy bone development, clear skin. She released me. By external indicators, she should have shifted. But she didn't, Thornwood said. The doctor's eyes sharpened. That is why she is here. She pointed to the chair. Sit. I need blood, saliva, hair follicles, and a complete physical scan. I didn't move. What happens if I refuse? Dr. Reeves looked toward Thornwood. The beta removed his glasses and pinched the bridge of his nose. We can handle this voluntarily, he said, or I can restrain you, and Dr. Reeves can obtain the samples while you scream. His voice remained perfectly calm. The High Alpha requires you functional. He did not specify comfortable. That answered my question. I sat. Dr. Reeves immediately approached with a needle. The following hour stripped away what remained of my dignity. Blood from both arms. Saliva. Hair pulled from the roots. Scans that made me feel naked despite my clothing. Thornwood stood near the door, absorbed in his phone. I concentrated on breathing. Not crying. Not showing them how vulnerable I felt. Finally, Dr. Reeves stopped. Remarkable. She stared at the results. What? Her DNA contains every expected shifter marker. Thornwood looked up. The sequences are intact? Completely. She enlarged something on her screen. She should be able to transform. But I can't, I said. The activation gene is dormant. Her attention shifted to me with unsettling fascination. Not missing, not damaged, dormant. My grandmother's words echoed through my mind. Your wolf isn't missing. It's sleeping. Dr. Reeves continued. It's as though the wolf exists perfectly inside her, but is waiting for a specific stimulus. Can you activate it? Thornwood asked. I don't know, with enough testing. Later. Thornwood checked the time. The High Alpha wants her unchanged for now. Dr. Reeves clearly disliked that answer. Bring her back weekly. Any shift in markers, any signs of activation, I want immediate access. Of course. Thornwood gestured toward the door. Come, Miss Ashwood. Your new master is waiting. A private elevator took us toward the upper palace. It required both identification and fingerprint access. As we climbed, Thornwood's demeanor changed. He replaced his jacket, straightened his tie, became formal. careful, nervous. I stared at him. Beta Thornwood frightened entire packs. Yet the thought of meeting Darius Blackthorn made him nervous. Whatever happened next, fear would not protect me. Neither would obedience. My mind had always been my only defense. I needed to notice what everyone else missed. The elevator opened. I stepped into the most extraordinary corridor I had ever seen. Dark walls shimmered between black and deep blue, streaked by veins of silver. Polished marble reflected our feet. Above us, a glass ceiling revealed the night sky. Stars burned against the darkness. The full moon hung directly overhead. The High Alpha's private quarters, Thornwood said quietly. Perhaps 50 people have ever been admitted here. Most council members have never passed the reception rooms. Why am I allowed? That, said a voice from the darkness ahead, is precisely what I intend to discover. Something inside my chest vibrated. The voice didn't feel as though I heard it. It felt as though some ancient part of me recognized it. A figure emerged. High Alpha Darius Blackthorn was taller than any man I had ever seen, more than 6.5 feet, broad enough to fill the corridor. But he wasn't built like the massive alphas I knew. He moved smoothly, silently, like a predator that never wasted motion. Black hair fell to his shoulders. His face was sharply cut. Strong jaw, high cheekbones, a mouth that looked unfamiliar with smiling. Then I saw his eyes. Silver, not gray, not pale gold. Pure, glowing silver. Nothing about them looked human. They seemed lit from inside. Beautiful enough to hold my gaze. Dangerous enough that every instinct begged me to lower it. He wore black trousers and a black shirt. No crown, no jewelry, no symbol of office. He required none. Power lived in the way he stood. High Alpha, Thornwood said, lowering his head. Kiara Ashwood, as requested. Darius looked directly at me. The force of his attention nearly felt physical. Something in me begged to submit, to become small. I looked straight back. Surprise crossed his face. Then something else. He approached until he stood directly before me. Cedar. Snow, something wild. You don't fear me. I do. His brows lifted. I'm terrified. I simply don't see how displaying it changes what happens next. The corner of his mouth moved. Interesting. He began circling me. Unlike Dr. Reeves, he wasn't examining a patient. He was studying prey. 18. Wolfless. Infertile. Strong alpha lineage. Human by every measurable standard. He stopped behind me. Do you understand why you're here, Kiara Ashwood? Your beta told me you've been searching for someone like me. I turned my head slightly. Someone broken. Not broken. His breath touched the back of my neck. Unique. He moved in front of me again. No wolfless child has been born from 2 established alpha bloodlines in more than 3 centuries. The probability should be effectively 0. Yet here I am. Exactly. His silver eyes brightened. Which means you're either an impossible anomaly, he paused, or exactly what I've spent years trying to find. What have you been trying to find? Proof that the oldest stories were true. What stories? Stories about humans who could control wolves without being wolves themselves. My pulse changed. A power that existed before the moon goddess reshaped shifters. A bloodline that has almost completely vanished from recorded history. Darius watched me carefully. Have you ever told a wolf to do something and watched them obey when they had no reason to listen? My memories shifted. Pack members hesitating after I spoke. Wolves changing direction. Arguments stopping when I demanded silence. Moments I had dismissed as coincidence. I don't know. Think. Maybe. His expression changed. I thought I was imagining it. You weren't. He stepped away. Come, we have much to discuss. Then he turned as though there were no possibility I would refuse. I looked at Thornwood. The beta gave me the smallest nod. Not reassurance. Recognition. I was alone now. I adjusted the strap of my canvas bag and followed the high alpha deeper into his palace. Behind us, the elevator doors closed. There was no going back. Chapter 3. The Beast Beneath. Darius's private chambers were enormous, with windows stretching from floor to ceiling across an entire wall. Beyond them lay forests covered in snow, jagged mountains, and, far beneath us, thousands of citadel lights scattered like stars. The furniture was sparse but expensive. A dark wooden desk, leather chairs, bookshelves climbing toward the vaulted ceiling. A fireplace burned without visible fuel. But underneath the elegance, I saw something else. Deep claw marks scarred the marble floor. One section of wall had been left as raw mountain stone. Scratches reached more than 20 feet upward. No ordinary wolf could have made them, and beneath the scent of cedar and snow lingered something that wasn't fully wolf, or human. Darius poured amber liquid into 2 glasses. Sit. I'd rather stand. He looked at me. Defiance? Self-preservation. Sitting down near predators feels like a poor survival strategy. That almost smile appeared again. Smart. He placed the glasses down. Then stand. But prepare yourself. I've been traded by my family, examined like livestock, and delivered into a mountain palace to meet an alpha with impossible eyes. I folded my arms. I think I'm prepared. Are you? His expression sharpened. What do you know about the Forgotten War? Shifter packs fought one another for territory until civilization nearly collapsed. The Council of Five formed afterward to stop another war. The version taught to children. He started pacing. The actual war wasn't fought between packs. I waited. It was fought between shifters and something else. What? Something capable of commanding us. My throat tightened. Darius continued. 5 centuries ago, there were humans from specific bloodlines who could speak in frequencies that bypassed conscious thought and reached a wolf directly. He stopped before the window. They were called speakers. And they controlled shifters? They could. That contradicts everything we're taught. That is the point. He turned. The old stories claim the moon goddess created shifters to protect humans from darkness. They lie? Or conceal what happened? His silver eyes held mine. The moon goddess created modern shifters as a defense against speakers. He altered human bloodlines, giving them animal strength and instinct in the hope that a second consciousness, the wolf, would make them harder to command. Did it work? Partially. Shifters resist speaker power better than ordinary humans, but the influence never disappeared entirely. I thought again about wolves obeying me. You think I'm one of them? I think you carry the speaker bloodline. And if you're right, you would be the first known speaker born in more than 300 years. He moved closer. That makes you either the most valuable person in the territories, his expression darkened, or the greatest threat to every shifter alive. The words settled heavily. Is that why I don't have a wolf? Possibly. Dr. Reeves found the shifter activation sequence intact but dormant. Perhaps speaker genetics suppress it. He studied my face. Tell me exactly what happened during your 18th birthday ceremony. I hated remembering. But I told him. The moon was full. The entire pack came. Everyone expected me to shift because Vera had done it early. My arms wrapped around myself. My father performed the blessing. My mother painted the moon markings on my skin. At midnight I walked into the center of the circle. What did you feel? Nothing. Nothing? Everyone describes pressure, a storm inside them, something desperate to escape. I swallowed. I felt hollow. The memories returned anyway. I stood there for an hour. Everyone waited. My father tried using Alpha Command to trigger the transformation. Nothing happened. Eventually people left. My voice lowered. By sunrise only my family remained. And even they couldn't look at me. Darius had moved closer without my noticing. Did anyone speak to you before the ceremony? Touch you? Say anything unusual? My grandmother. Something changed in him. She was dying. Too sick to attend, but she demanded to see me first. What did she say? That my wolf was sleeping. That it would wake at the proper time. She made me promise to remember I wasn't broken. Darius became very still. What was her maiden name? I don't know. Your locket. His gaze dropped to it. May I? After a moment, I nodded. He carefully opened the silver locket. Inside were 2 images. My grandmother when she was young, and the symbol I had never understood. 3 circles linked around a crescent moon. Darius inhaled. What? This symbol belonged to speaker families. I stared at it. The circles represent body, mind, and voice. The crescent symbolizes incomplete lunar power, something that changes, but never entirely disappears. If grandmother knew, why didn't she tell me? To keep you alive. My stomach tightened. From whom? The council. Darius closed the locket. The first permanent law in the council's founding documents orders the immediate elimination of suspected speaker bloodlines. I stared at him. You're the High Alpha. Yes. You lead that council. Yes. Then, why am I still alive? Pain appeared behind his silver eyes. Something old. Because I am not like other shifters. He paused. I'm not entirely a wolf. Before I could ask what that meant, his body changed. I had seen hundreds of transformations. Usually they happened in seconds. Bones shifted. Power flashed. A wolf replaced the human. Darius's transformation was nothing like that. His bones cracked violently. His body twisted. Muscle and skin changed too slowly. He fell to his hands and knees. Fur appeared across flesh that seemed unable to decide what form it wanted. His face stretched between human and animal. Pain blazed through his silver eyes. I should have escaped. Everything inside me told me to run. Instead, I dropped beside him. What's happening? His head jerked toward me. Don't touch. The words were half growl. Can't control. But my hand had already reached his shoulder. The instant we touched, everything stopped. His transformation froze between forms. Something connected between us. Not emotion, not thought. A frequency. Like a lock recognizing the correct key. Without understanding what I was doing, I whispered, "Be still." Power moved through the room. Darius shuddered. Then the transformation resumed. Smoothly. Controlled. And seconds later, I was staring at something that wasn't a wolf. The beast stood almost 8 feet at the shoulder. Black fur absorbed the firelight. Its head was enormous. Its jaws looked capable of crushing stone. Silver eyes remained fully conscious. A direwolf, a creature from legends, supposedly extinct for centuries. You're beautiful. The words escaped before I could stop them. The enormous animal lowered its head until those silver eyes met mine. Warm breath washed over my face. Then Darius did something I never expected. He pressed his head against my chest, directly over my heart. A low sound rumbled through him. Not quite a growl, almost a purr. Submission. From the High Alpha, the strongest shifter alive. To me, the wolfless girl everyone had thrown away. I slowly placed my hand into his fur. Thick. Warm. Beneath it, his heartbeat rolled like distant thunder. I don't understand. Darius stepped away. This transformation back happened quickly. Moments later, he stood human before me, breathing heavily. He reached for a robe. What are you? I asked. A mistake. He wrapped the robe around himself. A genetic throwback, something left over from before the moon goddess refined modern shifters. He glanced toward the claw marks. Most alphas are simply larger or stronger in wolf form. I become that. And you can't control it. Not completely. Every shift requires enormous concentration, If my focus ever fails, I could disappear into the beast permanently. But when I touched you, I transformed perfectly. His gaze fixed on me. Because you commanded me. I stared at my hand. I only wanted to help. Intent is irrelevant. Power isn't. He laughed without humor. You controlled the high alpha with 2 words. What does that mean? It means if you can command me, you may be capable of commanding any shifter alive. My stomach twisted. The first speaker in 3 centuries, he continued, and you've just demonstrated that your bloodline still works. I met his eyes. So what happens now? He said nothing. You told me the council executes speakers. Are you going to kill me? No. His answer was soft, certain. I'm going to train you. I blinked. You need control before you accidentally command every wolf around you. And what do you get? Darius approached. You help me break what has been destroying me. The curse? If anyone can reach the foundation of shifter magic, a speaker can. And if I refuse, you won't. I stiffened. That sounds like a threat. It isn't. His voice dropped. You felt what happened between us. He lifted a hand toward my cheek but moved slowly enough that I could step away. I didn't. His palm touched my skin. Speakers and shifters were not originally enemies, Kiara. They were partners. 2 parts of one system. Mate bonds? Older. His touch sent a strange current through me. Your wolf is asleep because it's waiting for permission. From the moon? From you? I almost laughed. That sounds insane. Does it? Your grandmother said exactly the same thing. He leaned closer. Perhaps your wolf wakes only when you accept the part of you that demands control, alongside the part meant to carry shifter instinct. My breathing changed. And you think you can help? I think I'm the only shifter strong enough to survive both. Meaning, another wolf might attempt to dominate you. His silver eyes burned. Or your power might destroy them. He stepped back. I can meet you without doing either. This was too much. Hours earlier I had been unwanted. Now the high alpha was telling me I possessed forgotten power capable of controlling every shifter in existence. I need time, of course. But you said the council. Time is limited. His expression hardened. They meet in 1 month. They expect to inspect you. They believe you're merely a wolfless servant. And if they discover the truth? He didn't answer. He didn't need to. Where am I supposed to stay? Here. In your palace? I'll tell the staff you're my personal assistant. Your rooms are next to mine. Training begins tomorrow night. Why night? My control is weakest then. He opened a nearby door. A bedroom waited beyond. You will not leave the palace level without permission or an escort. I stared at him. Am I a prisoner or a guest? Neither. Silver eyes reflected the fire. You're a secret. He turned away, then stopped. One more thing. His gaze dropped toward my bag. The silver knife Vera gave you. My heart lurched. How did you keep it near you? He ignored my question. If I ever lose myself completely, use it. You mean kill you? I mean survive. His expression gave me no room to misunderstand. If the beast becomes a threat, cut deeply and quickly. Silver is the only thing likely to stop me. Then he left. I entered the beautiful room that had become mine and closed the door. Only then did my legs fail. I slid to the floor. A speaker. The high alpha was a dire wolf. My wolf might be sleeping rather than absent, and Darius wanted me to break his curse. Something moved deep inside my chest again, like an enormous eye slowly opening. I removed my grandmother's locket. 3 circles. Body, mind, voice. The incomplete moon. What am I? I whispered to her picture. No answer came. My grandmother was dead. The only person who seemed capable of giving me answers was the monster sleeping somewhere beyond my room. I touched the knife. I wondered whether I would truly use it if necessary. Then I closed my eyes. knowing some of the nightmares waiting for me were real. Chapter 4. The First Lesson. I barely slept. Whenever I closed my eyes, I saw Darius caught between forms. I heard his bones breaking. Felt again the instant my voice stopped his transformation. Remembered the impossible weight of his direwolf head resting over my heart. By dawn, I had paced so much that I had nearly worn a path through the carpet. My handful of books now occupied a shelf meant for far more possessions. My old clothing looked absurd inside the enormous wardrobe. My journal was hidden beneath the mattress. The silver knife remained beside the bed. A knock startled me. "Miss Ashwood?" A young female voice. "I brought breakfast." I opened the door. The girl couldn't have been older than 16. Gold shimmered faintly behind her eyes. A shifter. Her scent and posture suggested Omega rank. "Thank you." I accepted the tray. "What is your name?" She blinked. "Luna, miss. Luna. If you require anything, there's a bell beside your bed. I'm assigned to this wing." I stepped aside. "Can I ask you something?" She entered reluctantly. Being alone with a wolfless human clearly made her uncomfortable. "What is the High Alpha really like?" Her eyes widened. "Miss, I shouldn't. I'm not asking for gossip." I carefully softened my voice. Now that I knew words might be dangerous, I no longer trusted even ordinary speech. "I'm going to be working closely with him. I'm frightened and alone. Anything you can tell me may help." Her shoulders relaxed slightly. "He's demanding. He expects perfection, but he isn't cruel without reason. He has no favorites. No close relationships that anyone knows about." "And the staff?" "We respect him." She hesitated. "And fear him." "Why?" "Sometimes, late at night, we hear things from the restricted wing." Her voice lowered. "Sounds that aren't human. But they aren't wolf either, like something inside him is trying to escape." My skin prickled. "There are rumors he's cursed," Luna continued, "that the moon goddess punished him for something ancient. People say he's losing control. Has he hurt anyone?" "Not since I've been here." She glanced toward the doorway. "But, years ago, a visiting alpha challenged him publicly, questioned whether he was fit to rule." "What happened?" "The High Alpha transformed inside the council chamber." Luna swallowed. "Not into a normal wolf. I already knew. The challenger disappeared after that. No one challenged Darius again. So the council either knew or strongly suspected Darius's true nature. They permitted him to rule because opposing him was more frightening. That was not stability. It was a room full of explosives, and apparently I was now standing beside the fuse. "Thank you, Luna." She curtsied and quickly left. The breakfast she delivered was better than anything my family had ever given me. Fresh fruit, eggs, warm pastries. I ate without tasting it. Could Darius be manipulating me? Perhaps everything he'd said about speakers was designed to make me dependent on him. But I couldn't deny what happened when I touched him. His submission had been real. My command had been real. Whatever his motives, I possessed power over him. The only question was whether I had the courage to use it. The day moved slowly. I tried reading. Couldn't focus. Tried writing. The words felt useless. Mostly I stared over the northern territories and wondered whether my family thought of me, whether Vera felt guilty, whether my father regretted anything. Probably not. The problem had removed itself. Near sunset, the atmosphere shifted. The hair along my arms rose. Something deep inside me responded. Before anyone knocked, I knew. Darius was coming. I changed into practical clothing. Dark trousers, loose shirt, boots. I braided my hair and pushed the silver knife into one boot. When the knock came, I was ready. Darius stood outside, bare-chested despite the cold. Leather trousers, black hair loose around his face, but his eyes immediately captured my attention. Silver kept flickering into something darker, more feral. "The beast is closer tonight," he said. His voice sounded rough. "Good. I wasn't sure whether he meant it. You need to learn to control me when I'm at my worst. Where? The restricted wing. He began walking. Kiara. I followed. If you become genuinely afraid tonight, run. That seems likely. I mean it. Don't try reasoning with me. Don't stay because you believe you can help. Run. His gaze met mine. A panic room is located at the far end of the restricted corridor. Code 1847. Lock yourself inside until morning. That does very little for my confidence. Good. Confidence can get you killed. He looked away. Your survival matters more than mine. Remember that. We descended through unfamiliar passages. Marble changed to raw mountain stone. Electric lights disappeared, replaced by unnatural fire burning from wall torches. At the end of the corridor stood a steel door covered in symbols. Darius scanned his hand. The door groaned open. The room beyond was enormous, perhaps 100 feet across. Its ceiling disappeared into darkness. Deep claw marks covered the walls, some cut nearly a foot into solid rock, old blood-stained sections of floor. At the center sat a reinforced chair surrounded by steel restraints large enough to hold something far beyond human strength. I stopped. What is this place? My prison. Darius walked into the center. When I feel control slipping, I come here. I can release the beast without destroying the citadel. He faced me. Tonight you learn the first lesson of being a speaker. What lesson? How to give a command that cannot be refused. I don't know how. You already did. That was instinct. Exactly. He stepped closer. Speaker ability isn't learned the way someone learns a language. It's remembered. Genetic memory. He pointed toward my chest. A wolf carries two centers of thought. Human consciousness and animal instinct. Alpha dominance presses on the conscious hierarchy. And speakers? Bypass it. His expression hardened. You speak directly to the beast beneath civilization. How? Stop thinking like prey. Darius's voice lowered. Find the hollow space where you always believed your wolf should be. My breathing changed. That emptiness isn't proof that nothing exists there, Kiara. He tapped his own chest. It's space. For what? For your power. I remembered touching him. The resonance. The certainty. Show me. His eyebrows lifted. Transform. For the first time, a truly wild smile crossed his face. As you wish. He surrendered to the shift. His body expanded violently. Bones cracked. Muscles twisted. Black fur erupted. The process was faster than the previous night but far less controlled. When it ended, the enormous direwolf stood before me. And this time, Darius wasn't fully there. Instinct dominated those silver eyes. His lips pulled away from enormous teeth. A growl rolled through the floor beneath my boots. He moved closer. Every human part of me screamed to run. I stayed. I reached inward. Into the place that had always felt empty. And finally understood. It wasn't empty. Something vast waited there. Sleeping. Coiled. Darius. My own voice startled me. It sounded layered. More than one tone speaking simultaneously. Stop. The direwolf froze with one paw raised. His body trembled. He fought me, but he couldn't move. The connection between us became solid. I could almost feel the war inside him. Human against beast. Control against hunger. Then I understood something terrifying. I could choose which side won. I could suppress the beast and strengthen Darius, or push harder and allow the beast to consume him. Power flooded me. For 18 years, everyone had called me powerless. Now one word could break the strongest wolf alive. Kiara. His human voice barely emerged through the beast. Don't get drunk on it. I felt the temptation. Make him kneel. Make him obey. Make someone powerful experience helplessness for once. It's addictive, he forced out. It will corrupt you. He was right. I released the pressure. You can move. The beast instantly backed away. Then Darius attempted to return to human form. Something went wrong. His body changed too quickly. Stopped. Changed again. Human and beast tore against each other. Darius. I approached. Listen to me. He couldn't. His body remained trapped between forms. Pain filled his eyes. I grabbed both sides of his malformed face. Be human. Power surged through me. Be Darius. Come back. His entire body jerked. The speaker command found both halves of him. His transformation completed. Suddenly human skin rested beneath my hands. Darius collapsed against me. His weight took both of us to the floor. His body trembled. I've got you. The words surprised me. I meant them. You're here. You're human. He lifted his face. Silver eyes clear again. That was extraordinary. What? You didn't simply command my beast. His breathing remained uneven. You commanded both halves simultaneously. Is that your curse? In simple terms. He accepted my hand and stood. The dire wolf is too powerful, too primitive. Every transformation becomes a battle over which consciousness remains. And eventually, I may stop winning. My stomach tightened. How long? Years, months, I don't know. And you think I can prevent it? Speakers were not meant to be masters. He stared at me. They were bonds. Partners? Yes. His voice became quieter. When the moon goddess altered shifter magic, she severed that original connection so wolves could exist independently. But something remains. In our blood. He hesitated. If we recreated that bond, perhaps you could anchor me. Like mates? Different. His gaze held mine. Mate bonds are romantic and chosen. Speaker bonds are older, fundamental. Once created, they end only with death. I stared. You're asking me to bind my entire life to you. Yes. I'm 18. I know. I don't even know what I am. I know. And you expect me to become responsible for stopping your beast forever? Pain crossed his face. I know how unfair that sounds. He took my hand. You deserve more than becoming a cage for a monster. Then why ask? Because your danger is as great as mine. His fingers tightened slightly. You are the first active speaker anyone has identified in centuries. If the council discovers you, they won't stop with your death. My blood chilled. They will examine your entire bloodline and eliminate every possibility that another speaker could be born. My family. Yes. The same people who gave me away. And yet the thought still hurt. If you are bonded to me, Darius continued, you gain my protection and a legitimate place beside the High Alpha. So we save you by stabilizing the beast, and protect you from the council. He paused. Perhaps we recover something both our bloodlines lost. What? Connection. Another pause. Purpose. Then, belonging. That word struck deepest. Belonging had been the thing I wanted my entire life. But binding myself to Darius meant abandoning any chance at normal freedom. Then I remembered something. I had never been free. My pack controlled my life through shame. My wolflessness became its own prison. At least Darius offered purpose. And choice. I need time. He immediately released my hand. To understand the power. To learn control. Then take it. I'm not refusing. His eyes searched mine. But I'm not agreeing yet. Fair. We continue training? Every night. And if the council finds out before I'm ready? Darius's expression changed. The man vanished. The High Alpha returned. Then I do whatever survival requires. His silver eyes became cold. Even if that means war with the council. The certainty should have terrified me. Instead, it comforted me. No one had ever promised to fight for me. Same time tomorrow? He almost looked surprised. Yes. Then his expression became serious. Tonight went better than expected. Don't become careless. Why? The beast knows you now. A chill moved through me. It knows your voice can control it. Next time, it will resist. Will you still be able to control it? I don't know. He walked me back. At my doorway, he stopped. You did well tonight, Kiara. Sleep well. The words sounded foolish. A man battling a monster inside himself probably hadn't slept well in years. His small smile suggested he understood exactly what I was thinking. Then he disappeared down the hall. I entered my room. 24 hours earlier, I had believed myself worthless. Now I could command the strongest shifter in the territories. I didn't know whether that was salvation or damnation. I opened my journal, intending to write. My hands shook too much. So I drew instead. The direwolf. Black fur, massive jaws, silver eyes. When the picture was finished, that sleeping place inside me stirred. Recognizing him. Wanting something I couldn't name. What am I becoming? The room remained silent. Far beneath the palace came a howl from the restricted wing. It could have been Darius, or the beast inside him dreaming of freedom. Chapter 5. The Deepening Bond. 3 weeks passed in sleepless days and dangerous nights. Every evening Darius collected me. Every evening we entered the restricted wing. Every evening his beast fought harder. The first resistance was almost nothing. A slight delay after a command. Half a second. By the third night, the direwolf snarled before obeying. By the end of the first week, every order became a contest. My will against something ancient that increasingly understood I was wrapping chains around it. You're stronger, Darius said after one brutal session. We sat across the room from each other, equally exhausted. He was human again, wrapped in a robe, sweat darkening his hair. It doesn't feel like it. I rubbed my temples. Every night becomes harder. Because the beast is adapting. He moved closer but kept several feet between us. You are too. How? Your commands were blunt at first. Stop, shift, return. He studied me. Tonight, you told me to calm down. You didn't simply control my muscles. You altered emotion. I felt that. It is extraordinary precision after 3 weeks. I touched my locket. Something else is happening. What? This gets warm every time I use my power. I removed it. The 3 circles looked faintly illuminated. Darius leaned closer. May I? I handed it to him. Instantly, I felt weaker. Not dramatically, more like noticing a familiar sound only when it disappeared. Darius studied tiny marks inside the metal. This isn't merely a family symbol. What is it? An amplifier. He showed me patterns almost too small to see. Pre-purge magic. Grandmother wore it every day. To everyone else, it was ordinary jewelry. He returned it. Warmth flooded through me the moment my fingers touched the silver. But speaker power activates it. It stores excess energy. Like a battery. Exactly. I fastened it around my neck. Am I going to need one? His expression darkened. The council meets next week. My headache suddenly felt less important. They want to inspect you. Thornwood will be there. Yes. He already knows. Darius's gaze sharpened. He suspected something before he collected me. My contract called me unusual. He told me I had no idea what I was. Suspicion isn't proof. Darius leaned closer. As long as we preserve uncertainty, we're safe. And if I accidentally command someone, they'll attempt to kill us. Attempt? His tone became cold. I've spent years accumulating power, allies, and contingencies. If the council chooses war, I will not surrender quietly. I believed him. But I cannot protect you if you expose yourself before you're prepared. So how do I hide something I can feel constantly? Explain. Every shifter feels loud now. I pressed fingers against my temples. 1,000 voices without actual words. Wolves everywhere. Their emotions, instincts, It's like hearing conversations in a language I'm only beginning to understand. You don't silence them. Darius sat closer. You learn to hear without answering. How? Close your eyes. I did. Feel my beast. It appeared immediately in my awareness. Describe it. Enormous. I breathed slowly. Like a storm pressed into a small space. Layers and layers of control over something furious. Good. And underneath, I concentrated. Fear. Darius went still. The beast isn't frightened. It is. I understood it suddenly. It's furious because it's trapped. You've locked it away so long that rage became the only voice it has. My own memories surfaced. Being denied. Being treated as wrong for existing. I know what that feels like. Instead of reaching toward the beast with command, I reached with recognition. I see you. Not words. Feeling. I know what it means when everyone decides what you are should disappear. The response stunned me. The rage faded. Curiosity replaced it. Then loneliness hit me so strongly that tears stung my eyes. The beast had spent years conscious inside Darius, powerful, feared, unable to speak, controlled by the only human capable of hearing it. Darius. I opened my eyes. Your beast doesn't want to destroy you. His expression changed. What did you do? Nothing. Kiara, it calmed. I didn't command it. His fingers trembled. I talked to it. With speaker power? With empathy. I slowly took his hand. You've spent your life fighting an internal war. His silver eyes remained fixed on me. What if you're fighting the wrong battle? What do you mean? What if the beast isn't supposed to be suppressed? I leaned closer. What if you're supposed to accept it? That would destroy me. Or reveal you. Kiara, the beast is honest. I interrupted him. It doesn't know how to hide. And you have built your entire life around control, appearances, becoming the perfect high alpha. His hand tightened around mine. That's why it scares you. If I release it, you may not disappear. I whispered. You may finally become whole. For a long time, neither of us moved. I could feel the dire wolf somewhere between us. Careful, interested, terrified of rejection, just like me. The binding ritual, Darius finally said. What about it? It doesn't simply anchor me. He looked toward our joined hands. It builds a bridge. Between human and beast. Yes. And you need me because your beast doesn't trust you. A bitter expression crossed his face. Why should it? I've been its jailer. But it responds to me. You see it without immediately deciding it needs to disappear. I'm still terrified of it. I know. His thumb moved across my fingers. And I'm terrified of what I could become. You're not a weapon, Kiara. I'm beginning to think I'm both a person and a weapon. Then we're alike. He stood. The next full moon is 6 days away. My stomach tightened. If we decide to perform the ritual, that's when it happens. What actually happens? The historical records were mostly destroyed. Comforting. I found fragments. He gave me a faint smile. They describe a merging of consciousness. How complete? Completely. I stared at him. You'll see everything inside me. I'll see everything inside you. No privacy? None. No secrets? None. That sounds more intimate than a mate bond. It is. And irreversible. Yes. He held my gaze. Are you certain you want that? I couldn't answer. 6 weeks earlier, I had no future. Now I had power and purpose. But accepting this meant tying my existence permanently to his. Ask me after the council meeting. Darius considered it. Why then? If I can stand in front of the people who want me dead and still choose this afterward, then I'll know I'm choosing you rather than choosing from fear. Fair. He walked me toward the door. Kiara? Yes. Thank you. For what? for looking at the beast and seeing something other than a monster. I looked at him. You never did. No. His smile was sad. Especially me. Then, for the first time, he smiled fully. The change was startling. He looked younger, less burdened. Tomorrow, he said, we start preparing you for council interrogation. Wonderful. He laughed. Actually laughed. The sound followed me into the corridor. The next 5 days were entirely different. No dangerous transformation exercises. Instead, Darius surrounded me with instructors. Protocol specialists taught me council etiquette, how to address each rank, when to answer, when silence was safer. Voice teachers helped me control tone so command frequencies didn't slip into normal speech. An elderly Omega taught breathing techniques. The council will provoke you, she explained. They hunt emotional weakness automatically. How am I supposed to look calm when I'm terrified? Remember that fear is chemistry. She smiled. And remember something else. What? You could probably destroy most of them with one word. My eyebrows rose. You won't. She tapped my forehead. But knowing you could is useful. I carried that thought like the knife in my boot. Hidden. Dangerous. Hopefully unnecessary. Luna prepared my clothing. A simple black dress. Elegant without being extravagant. Comfortable shoes. Hair arranged neatly. When she finished, she studied me. You look like you belong here. With wolves? Not exactly. She tilted her head. You don't look pack. You don't look entirely human either. Is that supposed to be good? It looks honest. Then she smiled faintly. The high alpha changed after you came. My heart skipped. How? He's calmer. She adjusted the dress. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I wished I could tell her that what I was doing might get everyone killed. Instead, I thanked her. Darius arrived at noon. Formal black suit. Hair pulled back. Dark glasses hiding his silver eyes. He looked nothing like the man who trained with me. This was the high alpha. Ready? No. His mouth twitched. But I'm going anyway. Good answer. He offered his arm. I accepted. The council chamber occupied the highest public level of the citadel. It was circular, surrounded by windows overlooking the territories. 5 enormous chairs formed a semicircle, each made from a different material. Stone, wood, metal, bone, and something uncomfortably similar to petrified flesh. 4 chairs were occupied. Thornwood sat in the metal chair. The enormous male in stone was covered in scars. Alpha Kron, a silver-haired woman, occupied the wooden chair. Alpha Morgana. The thin, nervous man in bone was Cyrus. Darius's flesh-colored seat remained empty until he led me forward. Then he took it. Instantly, his presence changed. Pressure filled the chamber. High Alpha. Absolute. I stood alone before 4 powerful shifters, and the man who might become bound permanently to my soul. Morgana spoke first. Kiara Ashwood, 18, Wolfless, infertile, daughter of Alpha Ronan Ashwood. She examined her tablet. Your medical records are fascinating. Her eyes lifted. How does it feel to exist so close to power and know you'll never possess it? I breathed slowly. Like being hungry outside a restaurant. Cyrus laughed sharply. You smell the meal, I continued, and watch everyone eating, but the door is locked and you don't have the key. I like her, Cyrus said. Most wolfless humans tremble. Spirit without strength is arrogance, Kron rumbled. His gaze turned toward Darius. Why keep her in the palace? A wolfless human near the high alpha is a vulnerability. She's an administrative assistant, Darius replied. She can read and write. Practical then. Thornwood leaned forward. Not sentimental. Precisely. Thornwood looked at me. Miss Ashwood, have you experienced anything unusual since arriving? My heart accelerated. Everything about the Citadel is unusual. Before coming here, I'd never traveled more than 20 miles from my birthplace. Clever. He stood. But that isn't what I asked. He approached. I've been observing you. Of course he had. Every evening you enter the restricted wing with the high alpha. My breathing remained controlled. You emerge exhausted. Staff members hear voices, commands. He stopped directly before me. What exactly happens there? Truth would expose me. A lie might expose me faster. So I gave him something between. I'm learning how to survive among predators. Thornwood watched me. The high alpha is teaching me how not to become prey simply because I was born without claws. I let real bitterness enter my voice. Surely you understand the usefulness of that. Approval flashed briefly behind Thornwood's eyes. He turned. She is hiding something. My blood chilled. But I can't prove what. Then the matter is postponed, Morgana said. For now she stays. Kron looked dissatisfied. One more request, Thornwood said. He looked at Darius. The full moon is tomorrow. My stomach dropped. I'd like to observe one of these training sessions. No. Darius's answer was immediate. High Alpha. The restricted wing is restricted. Power filled his voice. You will not enter. If there is nothing to hide, this matter is closed. The room seemed to shrink under his dominance. Unless the council wishes to formally challenge my control over my private quarters. No one answered. Thornwood finally lowered his head. Of course not. The meeting ended. Darius took my arm and walked me out. He remained composed until the elevator doors closed. Then his body sagged against the wall. That was too close. He knows. He suspects. What's the difference now? Time. He faced me. We performed the binding tonight. My heart jumped. Tonight? Before Thornwood gains proof. Once the bond exists, your changing abilities can be explained as a rare sympathetic bond caused by prolonged exposure to my alpha power. Will anyone believe that? They may prefer believing it to admitting the council failed to detect a speaker. He gripped my shoulders. But I need your answer now. Silver eyes searched mine. Once this happens, neither of us can undo it. 6 weeks. 6 weeks since my family had handed me over. 6 weeks since I believed my existence had no value. I thought of Darius's beast. My power. The strange certainty that for the first time, a choice truly belonged to me. Yes. The word came clearly. I'm ready. His expression transformed. Then tonight. He rested his forehead against mine. We become something that hasn't existed for 5 centuries. Partners? More. Equals? Yes. Chosen family. His breath warmed my skin. 2 halves of something impossible. And somewhere inside me, something settled. Not because I knew the future. Not because I understood what the bond would become. But because, for the first time in 18 years, I was choosing where I belonged. Chapter 6. The Binding. The ritual circle sat on the highest point of the citadel. Darius led me through a concealed staircase behind a panel in his chambers. We climbed silently. He had changed into loose trousers and nothing else. I still wore my black council dress. For reasons I couldn't explain, that felt right. The staircase opened onto a mountain platform exposed to the sky. Snow covered the edges. Wind tore across the stone. At the center lay 3 enormous overlapping circles, the same symbol as my locket. This is original, Darius said, 5 centuries old. The council didn't destroy it? They tried. His gaze moved across the carvings. The magic runs too deeply into the mountain. The full moon hung directly overhead. Something inside me pulled toward it. What do we do? First, understand what you're choosing. Darius faced me. Once it starts, the ritual strips away everything we use to hide. Memory, fear, secrets. He extended his hands. There will be nowhere to retreat. I thought of the council, my parents, grandmother. the beast that had pressed its head to my heart simply because I had seen it. I'm still certain. Darius entered the intersection of the 3 circles. I followed. Power hummed through the stone. Give me your hands. I placed mine in his. The ritual uses blood, breath, and vows. He produced a ceremonial silver blade. We cut our palms, join blood, match our breathing, then speak. Speak what? Our true names. I don't know mine. You will. He cut his palm. Blood appeared. Then he passed me the blade. I cut mine. Sharp pain. Immediate heat. He pressed our wounded palms together. The world exploded in silver light. Power surged through me. I gasped. Breathe. I followed Darius's rhythm. In, out, again. Our pulses began to match. Then his consciousness touched mine. Suddenly I was 6 years old. Except I wasn't. Darius was. I watched his first transformation through his eyes. His bones becoming too large. His mother screaming. His father ordering restraints. A frightened child locked inside a cell while adults discussed whether he should be killed. I felt years of pain. Every transformation. Every injury. Every time the beast became stronger. The day he inherited the High Alpha title after his father's suicide. The letter his father left behind. Better to die human than live as a monster. Fight it every day. Or end yourself before you become a danger. I felt the loneliness afterward. Darius driving everyone away. Building perfect control. Becoming untouchable because closeness was too dangerous. Then, 6 weeks ago, a wolfless girl touched him. And the beast obeyed. Darius, don't speak yet. His voice existed everywhere. You haven't seen all of it. More memories. Forbidden archives. Hidden historians. Years searching for speakers. Money spent tracking vanished bloodlines. Rumors of one impossible alpha daughter who could not transform. Thornwood being sent to retrieve me. Not because Darius wanted a servant, because he was desperate. I pushed one thought through the connection. I see you. His grip tightened. You're not a monster. You're someone who fought alone too long. Then the bond opened my memories to him. I couldn't hide anything. My childhood. Watching other children shift. The dread building with every full moon. My father's disappointment. My mother's embarrassment. Vera's early transformation. The 3-day celebration. Me smiling while jealousy and shame tore through me. My 18th birthday. Standing beneath the moon in front of 200 wolves. Nothing happening. People leaving. The terrible silence afterward. Months of making myself smaller. Speaking less. Wanting nothing. Then the morning my father told me the council wanted me. And the horrible relief buried beneath my fear. At least I had finally discovered my value. Someone wanted me. Even as property. Pain ripped through Darius. Kiara. Now you know. Tears covered my face. Now you understand why I said yes. You were the first person who looked at me and saw possibility. The circle brightened. Threads of power wrapped between us. His true name entered my consciousness. Darius of the between spaces. Neither fully man nor beast, living in the place others feared. And mine came with equal certainty. Kiara who speaks to beasts. Bridge. Bond. Voice. We spoke together. I bind myself to Darius of the between spaces, to become his anchor when the beast rises, his voice when words fail, and his witness through darkness and light. His answer followed. I bind myself to Kiara who speaks to beasts, to become her shield when the world turns cruel, her strength when she falters, and her home when she has nowhere else to belong. The vows moved through our blood, through the mountain, through something much older than either of us. Then the bond locked into place. We both fell. For one terrible instant, I felt myself being broken apart and rebuilt. Then silence. We knelt facing each other. Our hands remained joined. The cuts had stopped bleeding. The wind was gone. Everything felt different. I could feel a second heartbeat. His consciousness hovered beside mine. Kiara. My name sounded different from him now. Sacred. I can feel your beast, I whispered. Darius went still. It isn't separate anymore. He closed his eyes. The pressure. What? It's gone. Wonder entered his voice. The beast is still there, but it isn't fighting, because we stopped treating it like an enemy. Darius looked at me. Then his eyes widened. Kiara. What? Your eyes. I lifted the locket and looked into its polished surface. Silver threads had appeared through my brown irises. I gasped. The binding affected your wolf, Darius said. Can I shift? Not yet. He stared with open wonder. But she's awake enough to answer. My heart hammered. You're becoming both. Speaker and shifter? Yes. His expression changed. Something that may not have existed since before the Forgotten War. I stared at my reflection. Is that what grandmother knew? Possibly. Darius stood quickly and pulled me up. We need to get inside before anyone sees. Well, a familiar voice came from the stairs. This is interesting. We turned. Beta Thornwood stood at the edge of the platform. Darius immediately moved in front of me. You are trespassing. Am I? Thornwood adjusted his glasses. Council members are authorized to investigate suspected treason. His eyes moved toward the ritual circle. And this appears very much like treason. Nothing happened here that concerns you. A forbidden binding ritual with a suspected speaker concerns me considerably. Darius's body tightened. Thornwood looked at me. Let's make this simple. He stepped forward. Miss Ashwood, command me to kneel. My blood went cold. If I refused, suspicion became certainty. If I obeyed and failed, Darius's explanation collapsed. If I succeeded, the truth was undeniable. Darius answered first. She can only influence me through the sympathetic bond. Then nothing should happen if she commands me. Thornwood smiled. Unless you're lying. Through our bond, I felt Darius realize we were trapped. Then another possibility occurred to me. You're right. I stepped around Darius. Kiara. I should demonstrate exactly what I'm capable of. I looked directly into Thornwood's gray eyes. I am Kiara who speaks to beasts. Power gathered behind every word. And I command you, Beta Thornwood. He braced himself. Tell me the truth. His body jerked. What do you truly want? Thornwood fought. His will was enormous. But the ritual circle still held power, and the fresh bond amplified mine. I want... The words tore through his resistance. I want proof that speakers still exist. Darius stared at him. Why? That the purge failed. Thornwood's face drained of color. That there is hope. For what? I pressed. His expression broke. My daughter. Silence. My 12-year-old daughter. His voice became raw. She hears wolves. My anger disappeared. All of them, constantly. Their thoughts, instinct, emotions. The council calls her mentally ill. He swallowed. They want to place her in an asylum. You knew about speakers. For 5 years I've searched every surviving record. His composure collapsed. I heard rumors about the Ashwood Alpha's Wolfless daughter and investigated your bloodline. That was why you collected me personally. Yes. Not for the council. For Sarah. Desperation filled his eyes. I needed someone who might teach her. He dropped to his knees. Not because I commanded him. Because he chose to. Please. The feared Beta Thornwood knelt before me. She hears every wolf within 100 miles. She can't filter them. She can't sleep. She barely eats. His voice cracked. Save my daughter. I looked at Darius. Can you hear me? His surprise moved through our bond. Yes. What do you think? His answer arrived instantly. I think you just turned our greatest threat into an ally. I faced Thornwood. I'll help her. His head lifted. 3 conditions. Anything. First, you tell no one what I am. Agreed. Second, every record, every fragment, every piece of speaker history you've discovered comes to me. Yes. If other children exist, we find them before the council does. Thornwood nodded. And third. I paused. You swear loyalty to me. Darius looked at me. Not the council, not even Darius. I kept my gaze on Thornwood. To me personally. Why? Because eventually I'm going to build something the council may not like. Understanding entered his eyes. A sanctuary. For speakers. A tear escaped him. I swear. He placed his fist against his heart. My resources, loyalty, skills, and life belong to Kiara, who speaks to beasts. The oath resonated faintly through the old circle. Rise. He obeyed. We need speed, Darius said. The council is already suspicious. I'll redirect them, Thornwood answered. Create investigations elsewhere. Buy time. He looked at me. But the others won't protect you for personal reasons. If they discover what you're doing, they will destroy it. Then they can try. Silver flashed through my vision. I spent 18 years being afraid of people who thought different meant broken. My voice hardened. I'm finished with that. A revolution, Thornwood murmured. No. I looked toward the moon. An evolution. We walked back toward the stairs. Something moved where my wolf had slept. Not fully awake, but closer. My grandmother had promised the world would feel it when she finally rose. For the first time, I believed her. Chapter 7. The Price of Secrets. The year that followed the binding ritual became both the hardest and most meaningful period of my life. Thornwood kept every promise. Within days, he manufactured a crisis in the Eastern Territories involving rogue attacks. The council's attention moved away from me. Darius and I used every stolen day. Training became my life. But I no longer trained only to command. I trained to understand. Thornwood smuggled forbidden material into the palace. Burned scroll fragments. Encoded histories. Documents rescued from libraries before council purges destroyed them. Slowly, the official story fell apart. Speakers had not originally ruled shifters as tyrants. Most had been mediators, bridges, humans capable of understanding wolf instinct and human language well enough to prevent conflicts between settlements and packs. The Forgotten War had not simply been speakers enslaving wolves. It had been a struggle for independence. Shifters wanted freedom from speaker influence. And in trying to gain it, both sides destroyed the balance that once connected them. The moon goddess altered shifters because some speakers abused their power, I read aloud one afternoon. Darius looked up from a text about direwolf physiology, but she overcorrected. Exactly. I continued translating. She severed the natural bond entirely. Darius leaned back. That explains the beast. How? Direwolves were originally bonded to speakers. His eyes became distant. When the bonds disappeared, creatures like me lost their anchors. So your form isn't a curse. Perhaps not. He looked at his hands. Perhaps it's an unfinished design. Centuries of history changed meaning around us. Direwolves became unstable because they possessed too much instinct and strength without the bond meant to balance them. The survivors learned suppression, then passed the trauma down as discipline. That's horrible, I whispered. History usually is when the victors write it. Darius touched the silver growing more visible in my eyes. But you're proving another possibility. Sarah Thornwood arrived 2 months after the binding. She was 12. Thin enough that I could see bone beneath her skin. Her eyes looked haunted. The first time she saw me, she screamed. Too loud! She covered her ears. Everyone is too loud. Please make them stop. It took 3 hours before she understood that the sounds weren't imaginary. She was hearing wolves beneath spoken language, primal communication, instinct, emotion. The same layer I could sense. But Sarah heard everything without filters. Teaching her became harder than anything Darius ever asked me to do. Her power was stronger than mine in raw scale, and far less precise. During one lesson, she accidentally forced nearly 100 wolves to howl simultaneously. Half the citadel heard it. We disguised the incident as a failed military exercise. 4 months into training, Sarah could sleep without sedatives. She ate normally. She could walk through crowded sections without collapsing beneath other wolves' instincts. And she could finally command one wolf without affecting every other wolf nearby. But the council's inspection was approaching. And she was not ready. They'll recognize something is wrong, I told Darius. Then Thornwood delays them. For how long? Darius had no answer. A knock interrupted us. Luna entered. Hi, Alpha. Dr. Reeves requests an immediate meeting. Darius frowned. Tell her I'm unavailable. I already did. Luna looked uncomfortable. She said if you don't meet her within the hour, she'll contact the full council. My stomach tightened. What reason? Anomalous readings from the restricted wing air system. Darius and I looked at each other. The filtration system absorbed huge amounts of energy whenever Sarah and I trained. If Reeves had identified that, we meet her, I said. Darius shook his head. She already suspects too much. Then we give her part of the truth. What part? My dormant genes reacting to our bond. Make it medically fascinating. She won't believe it. Then we discover what she wants. I looked at him. Everyone has something they protect. Pride entered his expression. You've become a politician. A survivor. Dr. Reeves waited in the same sterile office where she first examined me. Hi, Alpha. Miss Ashwood. She gestured toward 2 chairs. Neither of us sat. Her eyes narrowed. You called this urgent, Darius said. It is. She activated a holographic display. I routinely monitor biological and environmental markers throughout the citadel. Waves of light appeared. Most glowed gold and amber. Scattered among them were silver pulses. Mine. These readings began after Miss Ashwood arrived. Reeves looked directly at me. They peak during your evening training. What is your theory? Darius asked. I believe Kiara Ashwood isn't truly wolfless. Silence. I believe prolonged exposure to your unusual direwolf frequency activated something dormant in her genetics. Reeves's black eyes sharpened. And I believe the resulting abilities closely resemble historical descriptions of speaker influence. She knew. Maybe not everything, but enough. Evidence? I asked. Energy patterns, your original blood work, staff observations. She switched screens. And Beta Thornwood's recent access to forbidden pre-purge records concerning speaker bloodlines. Darius's voice became cold. Private research. For 5 consecutive months? Reeves stood. I'm a doctor, not a fool. She approached us. You're hiding something important, and I want to know what. So you can report me? I asked. So the council can execute me? So I can help you, you stupid girl. Both Darius and I recoiled. Reeves inhaled slowly. Her composure returned, but emotion remained beneath it. Do you know how many discoveries I've watched this council destroy because the knowledge frightened them? She crossed to a locked cabinet. Research burned. Subjects killed. Entire fields abandoned. The cabinet opened. Forbidden files filled it. I've collected suppressed research for 20 years. She removed one folder and dropped it on the desk. My daughter. A girl's photograph stared up at me. She had Reeves's eyes. Softer. She developed an ability to sense wolves' emotions. Reeves's voice tightened. The council classified her as a genetic aberration. I looked at the final notation. Eliminated. Threat level moderate. How old? 16. My throat closed. I'm sorry. I don't need sympathy. She looked at me. I need proof that children like her were not mistakes. Her hunger suddenly made sense. If you're an active speaker, then the purge failed. Reeves stepped closer. And that means others may exist. What do you want? To study you. Darius stiffened. On controlled terms, Reeves said quickly. To understand the genetics, create identification methods, training protocols. Her eyes met mine. So the next child born different doesn't die because ignorant people fear what they don't understand. And you remain silent. Yes. I looked at Darius through our bond. We don't have a choice, he answered. Neither do I. I turned toward Reeves. No invasive procedure without my permission. Agreed. No information leaves our circle. Agreed. You answer to me regarding speaker research. She smiled faintly. Gladly. Then there's something else. I told her about Sarah. Reeves became completely still. Thornwood has a speaker daughter? She has an inspection in 3 weeks. And the council believes she is mentally unstable. Yes. Reeves was already thinking. We create another diagnosis. What? A temporary neurological disorder triggered by early puberty. Treatable. Recovering. She began building records immediately. Can you make it convincing? Reeves looked offended. I've hidden illegal research from the council for 2 decades. She continued working. I can manufacture a medical history. Darius moved closer. If you betray Kiara, you'll kill me. Reeves didn't look up. Yes, I understand. She finally met my gaze. You're creating something, aren't you? Eventually. A network. A sanctuary. For the first time, Reeves looked hopeful. Then include me. Why? For my daughter. Her voice softened. And for every child who deserves the chance she never received. I took her hand. Our conspiracy now included Darius, Thornwood, Reeves, Sarah, and me. Against a system powerful enough to destroy all of us. 3 weeks disappeared in preparation. Reeves examined Sarah. Thornwood coached her. The false records were detailed enough to survive scrutiny. Sarah hated pretending. I'm not sick anymore. I know, Thornwood told her gently. Kiara helped me. I know. Then why do I have to act broken? Because the council cannot know why you're better. Sarah looked toward me. I felt her frustration through the weaker connection that had developed during training. Not remotely as deep as my bond with Darius, but real. The night before the inspection, I couldn't sleep. Darius found me standing at our window. Our rooms had gradually become one. After the binding, keeping separate chambers began feeling unnatural. You're spiraling. He wrapped his arms around me from behind. I can feel it. If tomorrow fails, then we fight. If they discover Sarah, they won't. You don't know that. No. He turned me toward him. But I know you. His expression softened. You're catastrophically brave. I stared. That isn't a compliment. It is from me. His thumb touched my cheek. You see danger and walk toward it because surrender feels worse. I rested against him. When this inspection is over, I want to make the sanctuary real. We will. Find more children. Yes. Teach them before they're destroyed. Yes. His arms tightened. But first, survive tomorrow. Together? Always. I kissed him. It was not the first moment of intimacy between us, but it was the first time we stopped pretending the connection was only magic and necessity. His beast rose beneath the surface. Not violent, protective, possessive, and beneath it, Darius's human tenderness. Tomorrow, I whispered. After we survive, we talk about this properly. A date. I smiled. We remained together until dawn. Then judgment arrived. All 5 council members attended Sarah's inspection. Darius took his official seat. Sarah sat beside Thornwood. Small, gray dress, eyes down. I watched from the gallery under the public excuse that I served as the High Alpha's assistant. Morgana opened the proceedings. Beta Thornwood. We are here to determine whether your daughter may safely return to normal society or requires permanent institutionalization. She turned. Dr. Reeves. Reeves presented her fabricated diagnosis. Auditory hallucinations, paranoia, violent episodes, medication, therapy. Gradual improvement. Graphs appeared. Dates. Clinical reports. The deception was brilliant precisely because it was boring. What is her current state? Kron asked. Stable. Hallucinations? Reduced by approximately 80%. Violence? None recently. Can she shift? Cyrus asked. Thornwood answered. Her first shift occurred last month. Another lie. Sarah still couldn't transform. Like mine, her shifter bloodline remained suppressed. We had arranged a substitute demonstration in advance in case documentation was requested. The council had no reason yet to verify more aggressively. I want to question her, Morgana said. Sarah's fear spiked. Child, do you still hear voices? Sarah shook her head. Look at me. Slowly, she raised her face. The subtle silver in her eyes could be seen if someone knew what it meant. Morgana didn't. What do you hear in this room? People speaking, ma'am. Anything else? No. No whispers. No. No commands. Sarah hesitated. Panic shot through our connection. Darius spoke before she broke. She feels afraid. Everyone looked toward him. Any 12-year-old questioned by 5 powerful shifters would. Morgana's expression softened. Fair. She returned her attention to Sarah. Do you feel safe with your father? Yes, ma'am. And if these symptoms return? I tell him. Good. Morgana looked at Reeves. I accept the medical recommendation. One after another, the council members agreed. Relief nearly weakened my knees. Sarah was free. Thornwood guided her toward the doorway. Then she stumbled. One moment. One loss of balance. One break in control. A pulse of speaker power escaped her. Protect. Every wolf in the chamber felt it. 3 immediately moved toward Sarah before stopping themselves. Silence. Morgana's eyes narrowed. What was that? What was what? Thornwood asked too carefully. Kron stood. That child isn't what she appears to be. My stomach dropped. I request further testing. Denied, Darius said. High Alpha. The council has voted. His dominance filled the chamber. Case closed. There was power. You felt emotional overflow from a young shifter. Darius rose. If we're going to investigate every juvenile wolf whose emotions affect those nearby, then I expect all council children and grandchildren to submit as well. Kron understood the threat. Push Sarah, and Darius would create a political crisis involving every powerful bloodline in the territories. Kron sat again, but the look he gave Sarah promised this wasn't finished. We had survived. Barely. The council was watching now, and every day they watched, the chance of keeping our secret became smaller. Chapter 8. The Revelation. 3 days after Sarah's inspection, an explosion tore through the citadel. I was training with her inside the restricted wing when the mountain shook. Stone fell from the ceiling. I threw myself over Sarah. What happened? I don't know. Alarms began screaming. Dust filled the corridor. Through my bond, Darius's emotions slammed into me. Rage, battle readiness, fear. Where are you? Restricted wing. Sarah's with me. We're under attack. Multiple breaches. Get to the panic room. Darius. Now, Kiara. His fear frightened me more than the explosion. I grabbed Sarah's hand. We ran. Combat echoed through nearby corridors. Howls, screams, bodies striking stone. We nearly reached the panic room. Then a massive gray wolf stepped into our path. Alpha Kron. His golden eyes shone with triumph. Going somewhere? My blood went cold. You knew we'd be here. Kron advanced. The High Alpha's secret always led back to this wing. This attack is yours. I arranged a reckoning. He bared his teeth. His sudden stability, his obsession with protecting a useless human, Thornwood digging through forbidden archives. He moved closer. I needed proof. His gaze shifted toward Sarah. And threatened people reveal what they truly are. He lunged at her. I moved between them, and my voice erupted. Stop. Kron froze in midair. His enormous body trembled against my command. He was stronger than any wolf I had ever controlled. I could feel his alpha authority fighting me. Sarah, run. I can help. Run. She fled toward the panic room. Code 1847. Only open for Darius. Then I focused completely on Kron. Be still. He fought. Be calm. His claws scraped stone. Be human. Power burned through me. Slowly, painfully, I forced his body to transform. When the shift ended, Kron stood naked before me, breathing hard. Triumph twisted his face. There it is. I struggled for breath. Proof. I protected a child. You controlled an alpha. He stepped forward. Forced transformation. Exactly as the forbidden records describe. His expression brightened with fanatic certainty. The council must see this. Then he threw back his head and howled. A summons. Through the citadel, other council members answered. I felt Morgana. Cyrus. They were coming. Darius. Kron exposed me. The others are coming. Run. I did. Behind me, Kron transformed again. His paws thundered across stone. I rounded a corner. Stopped. Dozens of wolves filled the corridor. At their center stood Thornwood, bleeding from several wounds. Behind him was Luna. She carried a wrapped bundle. I smelled the magic immediately. Speaker documents. Artifacts. Evidence. Miss Ashwood, Thornwood shouted. They knew exactly where to search. Someone betrayed us. A gray attacker broke through Thornwood's defense. Its jaws closed around Luna's arm. She screamed. The bundle fell. Documents scattered through blood. Something inside me snapped. Number. Not snapped. Opened. The place where my wolf had slept for 18 years exploded with power. Speaker. Shifter. Something older than either. Something that had waited until this exact moment. When I spoke, the voice wasn't mine alone. Enough. Every wolf froze. Not just attackers. Defenders too. Bodies locked. Minds stopped struggling. Silence swallowed the corridor. I walked among them. My skin felt alive with silver energy. I could see its reflection in Thornwood's eyes. My own eyes were blazing. Release her. The wolf holding Luna opened its jaws. She fell. Thornwood. He stared at me. Take Luna to Reeves. Gather every document. What are you? I don't know. I looked at the frozen wolves. But I'm done hiding. He carried Luna away. Footsteps approached behind me. Darius appeared first. Partially shifted. Morgana and Cyrus followed. Kron came behind them. Everyone stopped. Darius stared at me. Kiara. Shock traveled through our bond. You're fully manifested. Morgana looked at the motionless wolves. What did you do? She commanded them, Kron said. Triumph filled his voice. She commanded me too. He pointed at Darius. The High Alpha has hidden a speaker inside the citadel. Cyrus's nervous tapping stopped. Training her. That's not what happened. My voice still carried power. All 3 council members flinched. Kron arranged the attack. Lies. You knew exactly where I would be. Prove it. I looked directly at him. I don't need evidence. Power rose through my locket, through my bond, through everything I had become. Alpha Kron. His face changed. I command you to tell them the truth. He fought with everything inside him. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then my command broke through. I hired mercenaries. Morgana slowly turned toward him. I gave them Citadel security codes. His face twisted with rage. I directed them toward the restricted wing and Thornwood's quarters. Why? Morgana demanded. To expose the speaker. The confession tore free. To prove the High Alpha was sheltering forbidden bloodlines. Morgana's expression became ice. You compromised the entire Citadel for political proof? For the safety of our kind. Kron finally broke free of my command. Speakers enslaved wolves. They stole free will. She should have been killed the moment Darius learned what she was. I chose not to murder an 18-year-old girl because of her genetics, Darius said. His voice was deadly calm. Yes, Kiara is a speaker. The words echoed through the corridor. And I chose to train her. Treason. No. He stepped beside me. Evolution. Darius looked at every council member. For 5 centuries, our answer to difference has been execution. His jaw tightened. What has that created except fear? Cyrus stared at me. Beautiful argument. It doesn't alter council law. Then change the law. My voice rang through the corridor. Morgana's eyes narrowed. You think one speaker can threaten the council of 5? I'm not alone. Another voice came from behind us. She's right. Thornwood returned. Bleeding. Unbowed. I stand with her. Dr. Reeves emerged from another corridor, supporting Luna. So do I. Cyrus stared at them. You've all lost your minds. No. I stepped forward. We're building something better. The mountain exploded again. The floor cracked. Fire glowed beneath us. Darius looked down. The support columns. Kron's face changed. My mercenaries weren't supposed to do that. Morgana stared at him. What? They were only supposed to breach security and expose her. Another explosion. Closer. Cyrus looked toward the ceiling. Someone changed the mission. Someone wants the Citadel destroyed, Morgana finished. The mountain groaned. We need evacuation. 3,000 residents, Reeves said. One primary route. Dust rained down. We may have 10 minutes. Everyone looked at me. I stared back. What? Darius's voice entered my mind. You stopped every wolf in this corridor. My stomach tightened. Can you reach farther? How far? The entire Citadel. I stared at him. I've never controlled that many. Try. The mountain cracked again. Because if you can't, hundreds die. I reached into the place where Speaker and Wolf finally met. Then I pushed outward. My consciousness expanded. Corridor. Wing. Palace. Barracks. Medical level. Training grounds. Thousands of wolves appeared in my awareness. 3,000 minds. Fear slammed through me. Panic. Confusion. Instinct. Too much. I started losing myself. I can't. Darius's presence surged through our bond. You're not alone. His strength anchored mine. Then another support appeared. Thornwood. The oath he swore gave structure to the chaos. Reeves's calm mind became another point of stability. Then something smaller. Sarah. I'm here too. Her emerging speaker power joined mine. Together, we reached them all. I opened my mouth. Be calm. The words moved through the entire Citadel. Listen. 3,000 wolves stopped panicking. Trust. I felt every mind turn toward me. When I tell you to move, you will move quickly and safely. My vision blurred. You will help the weak. Pressure built behind my eyes. You will protect the young. Blood warmed beneath my nose. No one will be left behind. The mountain shuddered. You are pack. Thousands heard me. You are family. Thousands obeyed. You are survivors. I drew one final breath. Move. The Citadel became one living body. Strong wolves carried injured ones. Fast wolves slowed for elders. Guards stopped fighting for position and started directing civilians. No stampedes, no abandoned children, no rank, only survival. I held them, every mind, every corridor, every movement. Pain split through my skull. My knees struck the floor. Still I held them, until Darius finally reached me through the bond. Everyone's out. I couldn't release them. Kiara. Everyone is safe. Let go. I released the command. Darkness swallowed me. I woke beneath sunlight. Pine filled the air. Not the citadel. A tent. Beyond its open entrance, hundreds of temporary shelters covered a mountain meadow. Luna's voice came from beside me. She's awake. Then Darius was there. He dropped beside my bed. He looked exhausted. But relief flooded our bond. Welcome back. How long? 2 days. I struggled to sit. The citadel? His expression darkened. Gone. My chest tightened. The support structures collapsed. Most of the mountain complex came down. People? All 3,000 escaped. He took my hand. Because of you. I closed my eyes. Kron? Dead. I opened them again. How? His mercenaries killed him when he tried to stop them after realizing their mission had changed. Who paid them to destroy everything? We don't know yet. Darius's expression hardened. But we will. He helped me sit higher. Something else happened. What? The council changed. I waited. Morgana and Cyrus saw what you did. They saw Kron's betrayal. His silver eyes met mine. They're willing to negotiate. About speakers? Yes. My breath caught. Protection instead of extermination. And what do they want? You. I almost laughed. Of course. To help rebuild. He squeezed my fingers. Not only the citadel, the system. Outside, wolves of every rank worked side by side. Alphas carried supplies. Omegas treated injuries. Children helped prepare food. The old hierarchy still existed, but disaster had softened the lines. This is going to be complicated. Catastrophically. He smiled. But possible. Sarah appeared inside the tent. You're awake. Behind her came Thornwood, then Reeves. Luna. More people followed. Wolves I had commanded during the evacuation. People whose lives remained because I had forced 3,000 terrified minds to become one. Thank you, someone whispered. Another repeated it. Then another. For 18 years, I had been the broken girl. The shame. The person everyone wanted hidden. Now they were looking at me as something else. A protector. A bridge. A possibility. What happens now? I asked quietly. Darius looked at me. Through the bond, his answer came before his voice. We build something better. I took his hand. Together. Always. I looked at speakers and shifters gathering outside. Omega and Alpha. People waiting to discover what our world could become next. For once, I knew the answer. We changed everything. Epilogue. 6 months later, our new settlement had a name. Haven. It wasn't beautiful in the way the Citadel had been. No black towers. No marble palace. No impossible bridges between mountain spires. But Haven belonged to all of us. Speakers trained beside young wolves. One group learned how to control command. The other learned how to resist instinct without rejecting it. Dr. Reeves established a medical center devoted to understanding the genetic links between our bloodlines. Thornwood created archives filled with rescued history. At the center of the settlement stood a simple stone platform. 3 overlapping circles had been carved into it, once forbidden, now openly displayed. I stood there as the sun began lowering behind the mountains. Darius joined me. His hand found mine automatically. Our bond no longer felt like something created from desperation. It had become partnership. Trust. Love, perhaps, although neither of us always needed the word. The council approved expansion, he said. How many? 17 potential speakers have been identified. I turned. 17? Children and young adults diagnosed with instability, hallucinations, or unexplained behavior. Like Sarah. Like you. His thumb moved across my hand. Thornwood now has sympathetic betas in 4 territories. They're redirecting cases before anyone reaches the council's institutions. 17 lives. 17 people who might never need to believe they were broken. I looked toward the symbol beneath our feet. Grandmother would have understood this. Darius smiled. She'd be proud. Of Haven? Of you. I leaned against him. Behind us, a howl rose from the training grounds. Sarah. 13 now. Her control had grown enormously. She was already helping newer students. Soon she would teach without me. Build something that continued after both of us. Darius became still. What? Your wolf. My pulse jumped. What about her? Closer. He touched my chest lightly. I feel her, whenever you use speaker power now. He was right. My dormant shifter bloodline no longer felt distant. Something lived there. Awake. Growing. One day I would transform. Not because tradition demanded it at 18. Not because my father needed proof of my worth. When I was ready. When both halves of me chose it. What do you think I'll become? Darius looked toward the mountains. A wolf? Maybe. A dire wolf? Possibly. Something else? He smiled. Something magnificent. You sound very certain. I am. Why? Because no one has walked your path before. The sun touched the horizon. Gold and fire spread across the sky. Lights began appearing throughout Haven. The cooking fires. Lanterns. Homes. Community. I remembered where the journey started. A breakfast table. Blueberry pancakes. Parents who could not look at me. A family trading me away because they believed I had no value. I had gone from powerless to powerful. From broken to whole. From unwanted to surrounded by people I chose. Thank you, I told Darius. For what? For seeing possibility before I could. His hand tightened around mine. Thank you for teaching me that the thing I called a monster didn't need to be destroyed. We stood together as darkness settled across Haven. Speaker and direwolf, 2 beings who had spent most of their lives believing the parts that made them different were defects. Now those differences had become the foundation of something new. Beyond the mountains, more speakers remained undiscovered. More wolves still feared what they didn't understand. More people would need a place where being different didn't mean being disposable. There would be more battles, more secrets, more stories. But tonight Haven was quiet. For the first time there was no need to run, no need to hide. Only purpose, only peace. And the certainty that after 18 years of searching, I had finally found what I had wanted from the beginning. Belonging.